This week on the podcast, it's Switch 2 launch week, and we're taking a loving look back at Nintendo to ask if they're still the beating heart of video games. We also share our top tips for sharing consoles with kids as many prepare to inherit an old Switch. And on this week's Pixel Pick Showdown, time is indeed a healer as we crown the best game that got better over time. All this and more on this week's Pixel Parents Podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents Podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host, Liam Kelvin. Today I'm, of course, joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker. Curry, how are we, Scott?
Very well, indeed. How are you?
Good. I'm live and kicking.
Alive and kicking, back into the world of employment.
Aye, well, I never left. It's just more like, I feel more, what's the word? I feel like I've gone back in time to like 6 years ago or something like that. That's the only difference. Like, going back into an office full time is definitely an adjustment period, to say the least, but nothing I can't handle. You know what I mean? It's not as bad as like my last office, like kind of time where I'd be in for a lot longer than what I am just now. But everybody's been lovely. It was really nice, and it's been an excellent first week. How have you been?
Fine. I've been very busy, as we'll obviously get to, but it's been one of those weeks where, you know, I expected to come on the show and be like, I've not really done much, and then suddenly I've actually played so many fucking games, it's disgusting. So I'm excited to talk about them. And there's also, you know, that little ugly Switch 2 rearing its ugly head, and we've got, you know, Gamer Christmas coming up as well. So a lot of things to be fucking excited about.
Yeah, all go. And I should also add, it is Gamer Christmas. You know, it's Key 3, as people are now dubbing it. But yeah, it's because of that, you're going to be getting a lot more episodes from us this week. So this normal episode that you'll be listening to this Friday will be a little shorter. But if you haven't already, there will be a Pixel Reacts episode from the PlayStation State of Play there waiting for you. And on Sunday, keep your eyes peeled as well for a Reacts episode about the Xbox Game Showcase. And both of them should, all going to plan, will be available as video podcasts on YouTube. So if you want to come and look at our big mugs, you can. Yeah, it's all happening here, Scott. All happening.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely vile. The people have to see my face on a regular basis. You know, yeah. I work at home for a reason, so you have to actually get dressed up for these occasions. You know what I mean?
I see that this is our Charmeleon phase. You know, we're taking that second stage in the evolution. Not quite the last stage, but yeah, we're taking the next stage. But yeah, come check it out. It'd be good to see and hear from you, and also just what reactions you had to the showcases as well. We won't be doing one for Summer Game Fest, as I mentioned last week, because I will be away partying. So, you know, I'll be watching that and relying on Scott to be providing me with text messages as to all the cool stuff I've been missing out on. No doubt that's where we will see, you know, Bloodborne 2s or something like that announced. No my luck. But let's get into it, Scott. We'll get some housekeeping out the road. So, of course, for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents Podcast, the weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. If you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at Pixel Parents Podcast, or should I say at pixelparents.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear and you want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review and share this podcast online with your friends. That really does help us out. And of course, thank you to everyone that joins us each and every week. So, with all that out the way, Scott, what have you been playing this week?
Strap in, everyone. This is a fucking big one for you. So obviously after last week, I'd finished up a few things, and it set me on a path of what next. And obviously I'd spoken last week about getting Onimusha 2. So I had a nice wee playthrough of Onimusha 2, 6 or 7 hours long, just battered my way through it. That game there's more to it, but I just thought I'll get through the story once, and then there's maybe a platinum run on the horizon in the future. But not now. Not now, but it's always good to go back to Jubi. I think that you always get lost in the Samanosuke sauce because he's a big handsome bastard, Samanowski Akechi. But Jubi Yagyu definitely deserves some love. And you know, for the longest time, I was always a big advocate for remakes, and I think that some games don't need to be remade. Now, I've kind of taken a back step on that. I think that having played Onimusha 2 and what they've done with it, it's perfect for that kind of game. Like, it's got like a new lease on life, controls better than it ever did, but it also still retains some of the most fucking annoying, horrible parts that you can imagine from a Capcom game of that era. Tank controls usually, but the camera angles the camera's your worst enemy. You're getting popped off by bow and arrows from about 10 mile away and you don't even know where it's coming from. I was also streaming the other night and one of the bosses, she's a big pig lady with an umbrella, and she battered fuck out of me for about an hour. I genuinely on stream just killed me over and over and over again, and it was just simply because the camera just kept on fucking me over. I managed to find some cheese strats though, so we got there eventually and managed to get it over the line. And yeah, finished the game off. And this sends me down a strange path, Liam. Okay. And this is the exciting part for you this week.
Right.
Because I was like, I've got all these games to play. I've got so many games to play. The Year of the Log and everything. But what am I feeling right now? And I thought, I'll switch on my Xbox, see what's on the Xbox just to have a look. I've got this, this new Xbox controller for no reason now, so I might as well have a go at that. Looking through my collection of games that I own on the Xbox, and one showed up and took my fancy. And that game, Liam?
Yep.
Fallout 3.
The last thing I expected you to say. Yeah.
The most ridiculous set of circumstances that's led me down this path. But I have also finished Fallout 3 in the last 24 hours. I devoured, and I mean, devoured is probably a strong word for it, but I was like, you know what, I always make the sort of mistake of going down, wee alleyways and routes that I shouldn't take, and going down and go try to find things that I don't need. And this time I was like, do you know what, just go golden path it as much as you possibly can and see where it takes you. And it fucking took me places, Liam. I am now, the Enclave can, kiss my balls for all we're concerned. And yeah, I committed atrocities on the way there, which I'm not keen to get over. But it's been a good ride. It's been a fun ride. I mean, I don't see it being entering the conversation for my favorite games of all time. I don't think it's one of those. I think it was just a game that was there when I wanted to play it. But there's moments in it where I'm like, this is fucking good. Like, yeah. And there's also moments in it where I'm like, I wish I'd had power armor like 10 hours before. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get that right at the fucking end, and it's like, what am I doing here? Power armor and plasma rifles just completely mowing people down. And also, if I don't see another super mutant again in my life, it won't be too long, because they're a fucking pain in the arse. So annoying to deal with, especially in the end when you're in Vault 87 and they're all fucking running at you like 100 at once. It's like, this is great. This is great fun. I love saving every fucking 3 seconds. But no, it was a good laugh. Like, I definitely enjoyed my time with it. And yeah, I just thought it's quite a funny route to go down, because why Fallout 3? I'm not even sure why that is myself, but it was good. Just took my fancy, and it's the very first Fallout game that I've ever completed. So there you go. That's the first one done.
The funny thing is, right? You've went there, finally completed it, and I think there's probably a very good chance that on Sunday they'll announce a Fallout 3 remake.
I was thinking about that. I've got a really bad habit of doing that, where I play games and then they get remade like 2 weeks later. I mean, fair enough. If they can improve on the fucking shooting mechanics of it, then I might go back. But I can't stand that. Like, the whole VAT system and stuff like that in those games, it's just a pain in the arse. Like,
I mean, if you think about it though, having gone through it, you can picture the scene 2008.
Yeah,
that was like, wow. And then, but very quickly, that game I felt showed its age. It was very grey, muggy, bleak, and that's to fit with the world and it's to fit with the vibe. It gets away with it. But I mean, it's definitely shown its age. You know, trying to go back to it. That must have been difficult for you, surely, like initially, like graphically at least.
Graphically, do you know what? On the Xbox Series X, it was fine. Like, I think you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You sort of abandon all sense of normality when these games exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just sort of suspend reality. It's like, that's fine. Like, it's okay. That's the limitations that it's set in. It's fine. But I mean, it would have been nice to have some color. You know? Like, even just like the only blue in that game is the vault suits, and that's it. Everything else is either brown or grey, in different variations of it. But you know, I took the coward's way out at the end. I know on the way there you meet the president. But spoilers for Fallout 3. It's been out for a million years. You meet the big president, and he asks you to kill basically every single person that's irradiated on the planet. And I did that. So I think, fuck
Nice.
it. But then I also killed the person that's with you as well. It's like, you can do it. I'm not fucking pressing the button. You go and do it. And that was me. So I don't think there's a future where I venture down other Fallout games because understandably they get bigger and more annoying.
You've played the best one now.
Yeah, and I don't have an urge to do that. I also found glitches in the game as well. Like,
oh yeah,
I took advantage of some of the scrap metal glitches, selling scrap metal for £1 million. So I managed to get to level 20 very, very early on. So it was pretty good for that. But do you know what? It was a fun time, and I think that it's shown me value in that I can go back and play these games and enjoy them. And that was obviously the power of the subscription, because it's something that just took my fancy and I wanted to do that. But it's just like, I don't really know what to do next. So I've got a couple of games there on the back burner, and I think that'll be my next journey. I took advantage of PlayStation Stars announcing that they were dying, and used my points for £5 vouchers for the PlayStation Store and bought Blasphemous 2, which I've been fucking dying to buy. So it doesn't count for the list, though, Liam. Doesn't count for the list because I didn't actually buy it.
We were loose on the
but it's the same with Death Stranding 2 as well. Didn't officially buy that. You bought that. And so I think Blasphemous 2, I'm fucking choking to play that. So that'll be next on the list. And then it'll be time for Death Stranding and everything that comes along with that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that's definitely going to be the big time sink to get us to Metal Gear Solid Delta in August, of course, which I'm pleased with. Obviously, in the lead up to that as well, I've not been playing a lot this week. Obviously, we're at the time of recording hours away from the Switch 2 launch, and I've just been keeping myself clear because my plan is to become Mario Kart World, basically, just to sit there and devour that. And also just check out some other things. And then I'm looking forward to looking at some of the Switch 2 upgrades on there as well, like Tears of the Kingdom and stuff. Pokemon Scarlet.
I saw the Pokemon Scarlet stuff today, which looked all right. And I was watching some guy on Twitch this afternoon playing Breath of the Wild, which still looks like Breath of the Wild but runs well. So that's basically all you want on it.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that is all we want. I mean, I should also add, we'll come back next week with full thoughts after we've had it in hands and a bit more time with it. And I'm looking forward to just kind of, it's the wee things, like when you get a new console, like, the feel of it, just how it is to kind of experience the UI, etc. But the menus. I'm also intrigued to see what it's going to be like to port over data from the original Switch onto that as well, like how far can we take it, particularly things like Animal Crossing. That's the big one for me, like can I port that island over? I don't think I'll be able to, but we'll see. You could be listening to this with your own Switch 2 and it's like he's in for a fucking shocker. So we'll wait and see. But let's say outside of that, for me this week, I've just been kind of just dipping in and out. Naturally, I've been trying to settle myself back into a bit more of a stricter routine. Of course, in my last job, it was like flexible working, so you could just kind of work whenever, effectively, as long as you kind of fulfilled your 35 hours over the week, you were cool. So that was pretty good. But you could really suit yourself. Whether it was nipping out to the shops or something like that. You'd always start in the morning, but it's different if you're around human beings. Like you can't just sit there in your joggies and wake up slowly. So I've just been very dutifully going to bed early, not gaming too late. So I have been dabbling trying to get the Star Wars Outlaws Platinum. 2 trophies away from it, but the ones that are left there are just really annoying. But I just can't be bothered with them. Like one of them relies on spawns, so it's like you take out 4 of the big factions, like capital ships. I've did 2 of them. I'm just waiting on the other 2 spawning in, and I could just consult a guide. I know I could just do that, but I'm feeling like I can't be bothered. And then the last one is like do one task 20 times type thing. And there's a little bit of a refresh in between it, so you can't just spam it. So I did go and finish the DLCs last week, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought the first one was better than the most recent one that came out just a couple of weeks ago. The one featuring Lando Calrissian, and like they had like a bit of a casino type heist vibe to it, I suppose. Also, just because it's Lando.
No, that's it.
Felt like a much better, a much better adventure to go on. The second one was good. It just kind of felt like something that would have been probably better as a side mission in the main game, if I'm honest. But what it did do is it spurred me on to finally get my arse in gear and finally watch Andor last week as well. And I think I went through that first series in about 2 days. I destroyed it. And again, it was all part of I don't really want to commit myself to any games, so I'll catch up on some TV. Andor, admittedly, was something that, because I wasn't really in a Star Wars vibe, I just left it, despite all the high praise. I was kind of burnt out on it a little bit. But Outlaws, and it's again put me in that kind of frame of mind. So gaming's kind of brought me back to Star Wars, and pleased to say Andor is, Christ, every bit as good as everybody had said. Like it will move you. It's that good, and it has no right being that good if you ask me for a Star Wars show. But yeah, Outlaws was the tonic that I needed to get myself back on board with Star Wars, and yeah, I couldn't be happier about that. Outside of that, though, like I said, it's just all Switch 2, man. Like, I just can't wait. Just that feeling of just having a new console. I'm going to be like sprinting home from work tomorrow to finally get in about it. And I know you'll be excited to get your hands on yours as well, Scott.
It's funny. Again, genuinely no desire for it at all. Like, even with everything coming out today and people talking about it, nothing. There's not 1 ounce of me that's like, I'll sneak one in and no tell them. It's genuinely nothing.
I'm still waiting on it, man. Right to the wire. I have hope. That's what it is. It's going to be legendary. That text message of a picture of your Switch 2. And I look forward to getting it. Whenever that lands, probably tomorrow. But yeah, outside of that, man, like in terms of like gaming with the kids, been very late this week as well. Just gaming's just kind of taking a bit of a back seat just because it's been a bit of a readjustment in the old main life. But that's what happens. We talk about it all the time in the show, don't we? It's do you know what I even did in a moment of desperation, because I felt like I need to play something. I stuck on FC 25 for the first time in about 6 months, but I think it's because the football season's over.
Aye, sometimes that's what you need to do, though, is just dip in and out. Like, we've spoken about it all the time. It's just, touching base every so often. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. For me, it was still Animal Crossing with the Wii, and she's still obsessed with it. Still can't read anything that anyone's saying, so I'm having to make up voices for everyone. I could now consult on, what Tom Nook sounds like as a human being, what Blathers sounds like as a human being, and voice actors union. I'm coming for you because I'm joining it soon. She loves the whole decorating part of it and designing things. Like, she's obsessed with designing stuff. So she'll go into the wee design maker and make her own clothes and stuff and design wallpapers and things. Could not give 2 fucks about anything that the island needs. Like, genuinely does not care. But that's the part where I step in. I'm like, I'll go and mine for...
You do the donkey work.
I'll go and mine for nuggets and trees down and stuff like that. Like that's my role in this, which is good because it gives us both something to enjoy about it. But
Yeah.
it's taught me a lot about, you know, how it must have been for like my brother watching me play stuff and being like irritated to the point of no end, but it's like, just fucking do this. Because I'm like that myself, but it has taught me that there is joy to be had in just playing it your own way. Like, there's no point in rushing it all. And I learned it when we were playing Stardew Valley before, where she was just standing at the edge of the pier watching the waves and stuff, and it was nice. Like, she was just loving it. And in this, she'll just sometimes just go for a wee swim just because she wants to go and swim, or she'll just sit on a chair and just sit and just experience the world. Like, that's not me. I could not do that. That's time wasted. Whereas she's just taking it all in. So it's nice to see, like, this is probably the intended reason these developers put them in games, and she's actually doing it instead of just battering through everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's good. But apart from that, nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point you make, though. I mean, do you think about games like Roblox and stuff like that? Even Minecraft, like, I still don't understand it. My son loves playing it, but I still don't get it. And it's just because I'm like, I don't have the imagination for this. And I suppose it does rely on a kid's imagination. And even Roblox as well. Like, that game is massive and you don't see it anywhere. That's the thing. But everybody, you know, if you know somebody with a kid just now, they're probably interested in Roblox. Definitely Minecraft, especially the film. But Roblox, man, massive. And
that's what it's at.
I don't know if I just wasn't creative enough as a child. If you put that in front of me as a kid, it might have been different. But I don't know. Like, I
mean, I probably would have drawn Bobies or something like that in it, and then that would have been me. like that fucking scene in Superbad. But I think I'm the same. Like, I don't think I'd have been smart enough to do that. I think my brain is wired a different way. But there's fun to be had somewhere on it. Like, I'd love to sit there and play Minecraft just for like an hour and see what I can do.
You should, for science. Can you figure out Minecraft in an hour?
In an hour. That'll be my YouTube video. I'll be like,
that's it. 2 million views.
Minecraft has blown my mind.
I know, that's dreadful. And some of the YouTube thumbnails, particularly in the gaming space, it's either so reactionary or just total BS as well.
Oh, rancid, man.
And yeah, we'll probably have to do the same. You know what I mean?
How dare. It can be your face.
No, I'll take a picture of your face and a shock thing. You know, my kid stole all my consoles. Something like that. But it's me, I'm just really, really looking forward to just this Mario Kart world. And obviously I'll be seeing your fine self this weekend as well, so we'll be able to have a chance to have a go on it and experience some fun. Whether or not you're excited for the Switch 2, it's good. Mario Kart's just that quintessential party game, isn't it? And I don't know how it's going to review. I don't really care, to be frank about it, but I have a funny feeling that the open world structure of it's either going to take it up a notch at a 0.5 or it's going to cost it a 3 points in the scale, you know. It's either going to be absolutely adored or it's going to be like it's holding it back. We just wish it's Mario Kart 8, but I'm glad that it's innovating slightly.
No, you know, I'm excited to play it when I finally get round to playing it, do you know what I mean? But for me, it just looks like Mario Kart 8, but now I don't have to drive on the track all the time. Like, and that's fine because Mario Kart 8 was fucking class, but
phenomenal.
It's just like, it's Mario Kart 8.5. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like Mario Kart 8 3D world. Fuck knows, but I'll get around to playing it. As I say, the only reason I'd buy a Switch 2 is for Soul Calibur 2, and that is ridiculous. So,
well, I can report back, so I'm definitely going to be picking up the expansion pack once the Switch 2 is here. Just to dabble about in the GameCube stuff and all that as well.
Lovely.
But I mean, that's Nintendo for you. They always have a way to pull you in. Speaking of which, I think it's time for us to move on to our main topic, Scott. Which this week we've titled Nintendo Still the Heart of Gaming. Also, we know Switch 2, it's in the air. It's the new hotness. It's the buzz. It's everything. I know you're absolutely gagging to get your hands on it, Scott, and you can't wait. But I suppose this is a bit of a love letter, a bit of a roast as well, and a reflection, really, on what keeps us coming back to them. You know, or what's having us walk away. as we're kind of wanting to celebrate all things Switch 2 and Nintendo this week. As I mentioned, there'll be time for us to talk about the Switch 2 when you and I have had our hands on with it.
I love how you keep on saying me as well in this.
Manifesting this. I know somewhere Alex is listening, and he absolutely is sitting there nodding, going, he's absolutely going to buy this. And we're both in the same belief here. You're totally going to drop the ultimate turnaround, I believe. But, I want to kick things off here, Scott, because we've got the Switch 2 here, which is a very, very iterative console. Just improving on what has been a very, very successful generation with the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a question for you, right? Thinking caps on, for you, when did Nintendo last truly innovate? And, what console was it?
It is probably the Wii. Like, all roads point to the Wii, don't they? Like, I don't think you'd have a Switch in the same format without the Wii.
Mm.
So for me, it's probably the Nintendo Wii, and especially because innovation breeds greatness, and greatness in the form of the best Legend of Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, is greatness. So it was definitely the Wii.
Yeah, I mean, the Wii was a total sensation. I mean, that feeling of pulling everybody into the living room effectively to get their hands on this thing. So many tellies would have been destroyed with grandas chucking it, trying to play bowling and Wii Sports and all that. And the amount of Wii Fit pads that were just gathering dust underneath people's TV units, I couldn't imagine how many millions there are. Our house was one of them. One thinking, I'll use that. I think she might have used it once and it just sat there.
The Wii Fit, as soon as it tells you you're obese, it's like, fuck you, mate. Exactly. Never use it again.
Launch it. Use it as a bloody dinner. But it was a total sensation. I can see what you mean. Like, that was probably the last time we felt the innovation. However, I've been pondering this, right? And even going further back, I suppose the DS and 3DS naturally was amazing innovations. I mean, I remember going into a game store, like Game as we know it, the place that used to be a very good game shop. Now it just sells mugs. And walking in there and seeing the original Nintendo DS in the flesh on the day it came out. And if you remember the original design, it was nasty, man. It looked like the front bonnet of a Cybertruck. It was horrible looking. But it was this whole thing, like, you were so compelled. It's like, it's got two screens. How does that work? You know what I mean? Because you'd never seen anything like it. Even though it would be commonplace and just feel like the most natural thing afterwards, as soon as you pick it up, you get it. And that's the genius of it. But that got me thinking into what I think would be the last innovation. And that was its bigger brother, the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Now, stick with me here. It was an absolute colossal failure for them, in terms of the sales following the Wii. And, we take our minds back to the Wii U and Nintendo. You look at them now compared to before they launched the Switch. I mean, it's night and day. Everybody thought, man, you'd never thought of the out, but you're thinking if they lost something here.
Mm-hmm.
The Wii U effectively was the acid test for what the Switch ultimately became to be. You've got the big dinner tray controller, and I remember sitting playing New Super Mario Brothers on that. Can't remember which game. I was one of the people that went out and got the Wii U, when it came out, and it was like this dearth of games, even like rebuying Arkham City and stuff like that up here. Oh, it was worth it because it was kind of like a giant DS. But when you think about it, you could just turn it off, and one of the cool features about it was you could just use that as you would a Switch, just play the entirety of the game instead of kind of like the dual screen mode on it. And I feel that without that, you kind of seen it in front of you. That was the first iteration of what we've got now and what we're excited about in Switch 2. This concept of a controller that could also be your handheld that you can play your main screen on effectively. And I felt like, without the Wii U failing, even still, I still don't think they've taken a punt on that. Or without them taking a punt on it, we wouldn't be sitting here getting excited about the Switch 2, you in particular, Scott. I mean, I think we owe a lot in terms of innovation. For me, I feel like that was the last time they did it because it's just been iterative since then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Switch, for all its graces, I think that's running because the Wii U walked before it.
Yeah.
You know, and there will be people coming for me for that. I imagine thinking that
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're totally right about it. Like, it's there's a reason why, you know, most of the Wii U games are on Switch. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't have much like love or much to say about the Wii U because I bought it. I played Mario Kart on it, and I think that was it. Like, I think that was the only game I ever played on the Wii U. And I think that's also sort of the issue with the Switch for me, is that it's always good for one or two things, and then I don't have no desire to play anything else on it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously now going to change with the Switch too, because, you know, it's got more power and people are talking about Cyberpunk and stuff like that on it. How will that run? And how will that perform and stuff as well? But it's iterative, but I think it's necessary in terms of, you know, being a potential third option for people, which needs, well, kind of third, fourth option, depending if you want to include Steam Decks and all that bollocks out there as well. But it's a tough one. I think I stand by my point, is that the last true innovation for Nintendo was the Wii.
Yeah. Because
it's daft. Like, it's so stupid, and it creates the Joy-Cons and stuff like that as well. Do you know what I mean? That continues all that nonsense out. I mean,
you're right as well. I mean, if we're talking about innovation purely in the sense of something completely different, at least the ones that made it work with the motion controls, I mean, they absolutely knocked it. You couldn't get that experience anywhere else, to the point where the competitors were trying to ape it. You know, with PlayStation Move and even Kinect and stuff like that as well. It was a weird time. You know, everybody's thinking it's. And the funny thing was, it was great in a party setting, I found, but I would never ever use the Wii, or very rarely use the Wii for like sitting down hardcore gaming sessions. It was like Super Mario Galaxy and stuff like that, and Zelda's. But there was always like the tertiary option. You know, I'd always have like the 360, the PS3 above that.
There was certain games that, you know, were perfect for it, like a Resident Evil 4 and stuff like that, for example. Like, they were amazing to play on it and things like that. But you're absolutely right. Is it never felt, and it kind of the way the Switch feels, it was never the gaming option for you. It was always just the Nintendo console. Like, and whether or not that's going to retain the same balance as it does now with the Switch 2, I'm excited to see. I never think that, you know, once Scott Curry decides to, you know, shell out the money for a Switch 2, I still don't think it will be the primo console for it, because, you know, I have the Xbox and the PlayStation there. But if you are a family and that's the only console you have, it gives people a great option to still enjoy the games that people are playing now, but on a different scale. Do you know what I mean? So it's good for that.
I mean, if we go back to like the Wii U, it was a bad time, and the Switch, you know, it made us believe in Nintendo again, because there it was. It got what we all didn't know we really wanted so perfect, and it really made up for what was that kind of lack of controller style gimmick. You know, with this more streamlined, clean way to pick up and play anywhere. Something that the Wii U had attempted in its own way, but the Switch 2, it was like, the beauty of that was that they got something back, because, like, right, same with the Wii, you pick up the controller, you wave it about, and it works. With the Switch 2, it's just, you pick up the console and you play it anywhere you want to, whether you want to play it in the big telly, dock it. If not, go on the rooftop with all your friends and, you know, start playing multiplayer together. At least that was the pitch. But we're on the eve of Switch 2, and I think we really need to stop and just appreciate the Switch in terms of, like, it made us believe in Nintendo again. And like you says, you know, the big question here is, can they do it twice, or can they keep that up? That's a big question, because the only way for them now is to keep doing the same, which I imagine they will do that. I'm very much in that camp. Or will they somehow fumble what they have in their hands, which is a resounding success. For me, I'm looking at the Switch 2 and it's like I think they've realised the days of the innovation is behind them, because I think they realise, you know what, we want to make something that's a bit more open to all gamers out there, and I think they're really, for the first time, starting to turn their attention to the hardcore. And of course, you can hear my dog behind me.
Sounds like a horse.
Going to get a hardcore scheme booting.
It sounds like a horse trotting behind you.
I'm new dog. So, yeah, he'll just keep going. He does this every week. Where was I? But yeah, I feel like there's something about the Switch 2 here where it's like, right, families, casuals, etc. We've got them in the bag, because that's effectively Nintendo's the perfect entry point. But when you look at the specs and then you're watching like the Switch 2 Directs and they're talking about 120 frames per second and handheld only, as we'll come to learn. Oh, sorry, VRR and handheld only. All this are 4K gaming, and I'm like, for a Nintendo console, yes, it's a modern standard, but usually they're the ones that are like, I was half expecting them to still be like, it's 1080p, take it or leave it. 60 frames, never heard of it. For them to come up with 120, I think they're trying to meet the hardcore and the casual halfway here.
Yeah.
Like you talked about Steam Deck and that, and I think they know they've got something good in their hands here.
I think you're right. It's the issue is that you can talk a good talk, but you have to walk the walk in terms of the games that they're showing off. Like that's what's putting me off with the lineup of it to begin with. And I think I've said this to you, is that the lineup doesn't excite me, because you've got this brand new console and the game that you're releasing it with, for all intents and purposes, the main game you're releasing it with is Mario Kart. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it doesn't really feel like it's taking advantage of what they've got to show. I don't know what that game should be for me personally. Like, I don't know if it should be like a Zelda, like a big fucking mad Zelda or something like that, or something else in particular, but it just feels like a missed opportunity for that. And people might not agree. A lot of people probably don't agree, because it's Nintendo and they love Mario and fucking Mario Kart, and that's fine, but it just hasn't excited me in terms of not taking advantage of what they've got there. But I think that time is really going to tell in terms of how do you make Super Mario look better. Like, we remember back in the day playing Mario Galaxy on the Wii and being like, holy fuck, mate, how can Mario look this good? Playing Mario Odyssey and thinking the exact same thing. It's like, how impossible, even fucking Mario 64 back in the day. Like, people are like, oh my god, how do people make games look like this? Like, absolute wizardry. Like, what is the upgrade in that console going to do for a game like Mario? Is that the limit? We're seeing it with Donkey Kong Bonanza, best name in video games, where the game still looks, it still has that art style that you come into know and love from Nintendo, but it just has loads of particle effects. It's just like Knack, the Nintendo version, like Knack with Donkey Kong. Like, it's a bit bizarre, but I'm excited to see it. Like, I want to be buying this console. I do. Like, I want to be excited for it. I want to be excited to go out and pay for this, but there's nothing there at the moment for me that's doing that for me. Now, what is it for you that's actually thinking that you're like, what is the killer app for you on this? I know you're going to say Mario Kart, but like, what do you see in the future for this? Like, what do you see in the future that makes you go, holy fuck, like, you have to buy this?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, for me, first and foremost, I'm like a Nintendo fanboy. That's really it. It's that magic, it's that connection to that nostalgia piece. But I do thoroughly enjoy, Nintendo first party games are always of a high quality. You're never going to get it and have like a Cyberpunk launch on your hands. It's going to work. And it's just going to be, it does what it says in the tin. And it's something that's just, I'll come back to the point later, right? When I round this up, we've got a couple more talking points. Right? I don't want to spoil the end. But it's ultimately, it's a certain magic that they have. And that's what pulls me in. And I know that's probably what pisses a lot of people off about Nintendo fans, but also it's like, life's too short. If you like something, just go for it, and you can't get it anywhere else. That's the ultimate selling point for me. However, I do agree with you that it does feel like there is something missing from the launch lineup. And for me, it would have been even something like Metroid Prime 4, just something that kind of tickles the proverbial pickle of the more hardcore gamer, or even the older gamers out there. There'll be older gamers or mature gamers such as ourselves that are probably looking at this thinking, maybe I'm just, it feels a bit too childlike for me, and are they leaving the older gamers behind? Who knows? I mean, I think you could also argue the third-party selection with Cyberpunks, etc. That's catering towards that. And there's also other things such as like the retro collections that you're going to have, like with the GameCube stuff on the expansion pack. I do like what they seem to be teasing, which is the cadence of releases. So, as you mentioned, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm thinking already, right? I've got a month with Mario Kart World, and I'm going to get Donkey Kong Bonanza after that, which is something that will keep me busy for a long time, I'd imagine. Obviously, it's going to be quite a meaty game. And then after that, you're talking about Metroid Prime 4, and then there's going to get like a slew of third party. And for me, what makes it really appealing is that I'm craving just having that more handheld option that isn't the Portal. Because as much as I love the Portal, it's reliant on that internet connection.
Yeah.
I just want something that I can just pack in my bag and just have short, sharp bursts with it without, waiting the 5 minutes or so just to kind of get things up and running. It's just on button, here we go, pick up where you left off. And there's that Nintendo-shaped void. And for me, it's still going to be it's not going to be the main place where I play stuff. But I would, things like Hades 2, for example, that's going to be the main place where I'll play that. And I think now, with a little more juice under the hood, I'm sold on it being a little bit more of a viable option, particularly for those indie-type titles. And I think that's going to be a really appealing place now, even more so for indies. They did that with the Switch, which is one of the great successes behind it. And it reminds me of that first couple of years where you were like, okay, I'm playing like Katana Zero and stuff like that, and My Name is Pedro. Games like that on the Switch that I wouldn't necessarily bother picking up on the console. It's like, this feels right in the palm of my hands.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of like why I'm sold on it. And also the added factor for me is that it's going to be, if I think of it this way, by the end of this console's life cycle, my kids could be teenagers, which is fucking terrifying. But it's like, this is going to be a console for me, which is going to have so many memories with them playing these Nintendo franchises on it. And that's it's the door in, it's the route into gamers to keep them in there, should I say. And yeah, it's exciting. For me, it's exciting. There's just nothing quite like it. Nintendo's always just kind of retained that charm. They just have that magic, I think, that's the reason why we're still buying it. I think at the end of the day, when I look at the hype that we're seeing online on the eve of this console's launch, which will be in the hands of our listeners, hopefully by the time this episode has gone live, and me and Scott will be joining you on that. And it's just like, that's the reason why we keep coming back. I think it is that connection to a childhood, that connection to gaming through your kids, that nostalgia that you just can't quite get anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not serious. I think that's the thing,
I think I agree with you to a point. I think that going back to our first talking point, talking about the innovation part of it, jumping from a Wii U to the Switch, obviously there's not much of a difference there, but there was enough of a difference that it felt like a big jump in terms of the quality and in terms of everything that happens. Going from Switch to Switch 2, as we're talking about these iterative changes to it, like it just doesn't feel like enough of a step up. And I don't know why, like it doesn't feel like that to me. And I think that's maybe what's annoying me about it. But it's just these conversations about the fact that like now you can play Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild the way that they were meant to be played. Like, see if they were meant to be played like that, the console should have been better in the fucking first place then. Do you know what I mean? Like, make them like that. It's just frustrating. So all the tools were there initially, but yeah, and with you saying, with it being, it's not serious, or not serious, but it's like this childlike wonder. I think you were right in terms of the Switch, but I think that this console now seems to be catering towards an older audience as well,
Yeah.
but it's trying to, say, look, you can play like a Cyberpunk on it, or you could go in there and play Street Fighter 6. You're talking about Borderlands, Elden Ring, stuff like that in the future. Like, these are places where you can play these games and it's going to cater to an older audience. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know what my point is there. I had a point in my head, but it's like, it is serious now. Like, it's saying like, this is a console it's like it's finally hit puberty and decided that it wants to, its balls have dropped. It's just one of those things. But
that needs to be a quote on a video somewhere.
The Switch 2's balls have dropped. It's just it feels like it's trying to step into a place that Nintendo don't normally step into.
It does, yeah. It does.
And that's interesting and cool, and I'm excited for it. But how the proof is really in the pudding in terms of how it all works, and Cyberpunk is the litmus test on this for a lot of people. So
100%.
I'm excited to see how that fares.
Yeah, and I'm resisting the urge to triple dip. I've already bought that game twice, but
I know.
I'm really, really intrigued.
But imagine having it portably though, Liam. Sitting on the bus, watching that Pan Am scene. Pure.
I know, because there's so much stuff to do in that game. There's so much content. It's just never going to be a bad purchase. I might wait to just look at our Digital Foundry review of it, but from all the early signs we've been hearing, it is like everybody's actually anticipating this to do very well on the Switch 2, which I wouldn't be surprised by. But yeah, it's ultimately for me, to celebrate Nintendo here, Scott, because it is. You talk about it getting serious and stuff. What I mean for me, it not being serious is that Nintendo, I feel like, has taught a lot of us about joy when it comes to video games. Love them or hate them, they've left their mark on this industry for good, and that whole thing about childlike wonder, etc. It's, for me, I do think that the joy is definitely there, plain as day with Nintendo. And Nintendo, I think, taught us to embrace the simple joy in gaming, having fun above meaty graphics and sweaty specs and all that. That in itself is the magic that I'm talking about, and that's what I love, and that's what I'm quite happy to invest in, and to make sure that even if it is, I'm just turning up for the Nintendo exclusives, I'm finding a new way to kind of share that magic with my kids. It's a little bit like watching a Disney film with them, I suppose. It's like, right, you'll love this because it made me, very happy as a kid type thing. And even if they do connect with it or not, it's still worth a try, and it's something I think that's ultimately one of the greatest privileges of being a parent, is being able to kind of share those interests. And Nintendo is that kind of connective tissue. We're of that generation now where we're probably one of the first ones to be passing this stuff on. Between over the last 10 years, I would say, gaming has never been more accessible, and all those memories that come with it. When the Switch 2 launch, when you're looking at Breath of the Wild, now, like you says, this is how it's supposed to be played. What better way to kind of get your kids hooked? And it's like, right, it might run like a potato, but I swear to God you'll enjoy it, because it's very different when you've paid for a console and you'll do everything to convince yourself it's okay.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, that's an absolute miracle of science that it ran on the Switch 2. I think, there's probably more memory in a microwave or something compared to that OG Switch. And I can attest to that playing Pokemon Scarlet. But even that, playing that with my son recently, and I almost feel bad, but they don't know. They don't know what other options are out there.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, just you wait. You're going to see more Pokemon out there. It's going to be nice and crisp. It's going to load fast. And that in itself is worth the investment for me. But for yourself, you're not a complete Nintendo grumble, Scott. I know you love the joy that they give you. What have they taught you about joy when it comes to gaming? There has to be something.
What have they taught me? I don't know. I think it's simplicity is sometimes key in terms of what Nintendo are doing, and some of the experiences and stuff. I think that games that are quintessentially Nintendo, they obviously have that magic in them, which, you know, inherently makes you feel something. Like playing Super Mario Odyssey and you listen to the song, that Jump Up Superstar or whatever it is, and you're doing that level in it. It's brilliant. Even like the first time you open the door into Peach's castle and Mario 64 and you hear the music kick in for the first time, it's like, I'm fucking here for this. But sometimes it is just simplicity, and it's these games that stick with you. Like, I don't think I've played a game on a Nintendo console, a main Nintendo game, that hasn't stuck with me in some way, shape, or form. Do you know what I mean? So you're right in terms of the memories that they hold within you, and how simplistic that they kind of manage, the way that they manage to weave the simplicity around all their titles. Like, regardless of the games that you play, there's always this simplicity and this innovation in the titles that they create. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what joy it gives me. Like,
I think, like you said, it's the simplicity.
Yeah.
And that in itself, simply, is what the joy's about. I think I've made the point there. But it's not overcomplicating this. A lot of modern gaming stuff and discussions that, even we are talking about week to week, we can get bogged down by the ins and outs, the techiness, all this stuff that just doesn't really matter. Ultimately, is it fun?
Yeah.
And they don't get it right all the time. It's not to say that they are, superior in any way, but I think more often than not, they do get the simplicity and the fun aspect down a lot more than a lot of developers that want to chuck everything in the kitchen sink at stuff. And coming full circle, that's why I'm excited for like Mario Kart World, because it is just another Mario Kart. And that's all it has to be, because right, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
They probably shouldn't have made it 80 quid. I probably would say
I think that's a bit fucking, it's a bit ridiculous. And that's the boycott for me, is like, it's almost bugged me, the way that they've gone about it. Like, I don't think that me not buying it is going to stop Nintendo from the illicit practices, and they seem to be getting away with it because everyone else is now doing it. But it's people have to be, the anger has to be rife amongst everyone. I think that the jump, like, what was the Mario Kart before 8? 7? Was that on the Wii?
Yeah, it was on the DS.
The 3DS, right? So the one before that wasn't 6, was it?
No, it was.
Was it Double Dash?
I think it may be Mario Kart DS.
Mario Kart
Double Dash.
Double Dash. It
was Mario Kart Wii. What am I talking about? Wii. Mario Kart Wii.
Right. So is that these games, they're different. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're different every single time, and it's just, there's no, with Mario Kart World, it just seems like it is. As I said, it's just Mario Kart 3D World. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, they might as well have just fucking called it that. And charging people more money to pay to go and drive off road and as a cow, like, it just makes no sense. Until they add, I'm not going to be happy until they put Waluigi in the game. Is he in it already?
Don't know yet.
He fucking better be. But even putting characters like, they had Link and all that in the old one, like Mario Kart 8, and you had like other Nintendo characters in there as well. It just seems redundant to take them out already. Like, it doesn't feel right.
It's like a fighting game though. Even now, actually, fighting games got really bad for it. They take some characters you think they should be in there at launch, they take it out and it's a DLC pack. And we know that Nintendo are going to do that, and that's how they use it as a bit of a lead magnet in themselves for the likes of expansion pack subscriptions. But we know what they're up to. We know what we know. I want to be excited for it. That's the thing. Like, I think that's what's annoying me, is that I do want to be excited for it. But you're doing the right thing. I mean, it's we've got to practice what we preach on this show as well. FOMO is probably the worst in fact, it is the worst reason to purchase anything, whether it's a game or whether it's a cheeseburger. Right, you ain't going to enjoy it as much as you think you will, right? Well, I could probably murder
a cheeseburger would be good right now.
It's the worst reason, particularly in gaming, to go buy it. I mean, look at Dragon's Dogma 2.
Oh my god!
For both of us. I mean, you got a step further. You at least played it to the end. I FOMO'd so hard on that game, played it. I was like, I'm not sure about this, and I've not touched it since. Maybe there's a game in there for me. it could end up being another Dark Souls or something like that. It's like years later I might discover something in it and it becomes one of my favourite games ever. But particularly with a console, man, we all remember the Xbox One, the initial one, and it wasn't really FOMO that I got on that, but it was like I felt like after the 360 I almost felt like compelled, a duty to purchase it. Sold it, then end up buying an Xbox One S when they got their shit together. So the lesson in that is you don't have to pounce straight away unless you yourself, if there's something there for you.
Yeah.
But do not do it just because of the fear of missing out. But obviously we know that that's not going to be the case because you're going to have one anyway, so that's fine. But it is like, I think there's going to be they're going to announce a little raft of games later on this year that I think will satiate that need that you have in terms of, right, this is what I'm looking for. I feel like it's time to hop in. And I feel that there'll be pretty decent supplies up until Christmas to get your hands on this anyway for anybody listening. So yeah, it's not going to be hard to get, but you're doing the right thing.
I am. I believe it, and that's the thing. I believe it. That's the whole point of all this, is that I'm not. It's not like the PlayStation 5 Pro where I was getting my hair cut and I was like, fuck, I might as well just do it.
What you're describing with the Switch to the Switch 2, we've been on this journey with PS4 to PS5 and arguably the one to the Series X. I mean, it's going to be different. If I look at what we're doing with the Switch 2 now and what everything about Nintendo, and I'm like, when it comes to Sony and Xbox, now, maybe the PlayStation, I'd imagine PlayStation 6 will be most likely to be like, right, I'll go get that at launch. The one that I'm definitely big question mark is the Series X, because I'm like, you know what? Runs games at 4K, 120 frames, I'm cool. Like the next Xbox, I won't get that at launch. Like, I will feel the FOMO urge, you know what I'm like, but I'm ultimately like the Series X is probably one of the best consoles I've ever owned. Like, it just works. All
right, Todd.
Yeah, see that over there? You can go over there. But yeah, I think ultimately the difference here is I do feel that Nintendo still, despite its trials, tribulations, and question marks that from some like yourself, Scott, I still believe that it's the heart of video game industry because it's accessible to everybody. That's really it. To answer the question that we posed at the start. So I look forward to seeing if the Switch 2 can continue that. Now, I'm conscious of time here as well, Scott, so I just want to kind of finish this main topic on this little point here now.
I know we're actually being careful with the timer, folks, because
we have to be. We have to be. Things to do. More content to make for you fine people. But yeah, it's Switch 2 launch, so I thought it'd be worth touching on this about sharing consoles with kids. Now, I've made no secret. My succession plan, once the Switch 2 is here, my son will be bestowed upon the thine old Switch. And it's really just, the question is around, now is the perfect time if you're wanting to introduce your kids to hardware. But that in itself is a massive responsibility. And I'm feeling it myself. And is there any tips you think we could give to people who are doing the same as I that might be bestowing these old consoles to their youngins?
Buy a backup pair of Joy-Cons immediately. Invest in fucking wipes and a whole cleaning set for cleaning it all off. And a wee screwdriver set to change off Joy-Cons for Joy-Con drift. Apart from all that, it's just, have them involved in the setup of it. Like, I set up an account for the wee one and it was great. She got to pick her own picture, her own wee avatar and stuff like that, and it was excellent. Having to get her to spell her name and showing her what she has to do when she logs in and actually puts it on and stuff. And now she knows that she can play it in handheld mode, which has been a fucking nightmare ever since. But I think that it is, once it's theirs, it's theirs. Like, if they want whatever they want to do with it, they can do whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're intending on handing it over, just let it go. Just don't hold on to it, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, it's as good as going at that point. I'm with you on that one. Involve them with it, make an event of it.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of first protocol, lock down the payments and the stores on it.
Yes,
A
big
really,
time.
really complex password or whatever you need to on there, just so that you're not getting an almighty bill for Roblox currency or whatever the hell they do on that. I'm using this as an exercise to teach him about limits.
Yes.
Which is a good prop, I suppose. And I do this now anyway, but when he's got it, it's trying to incentivize him, because it's the question now of where do we charge it? Where's the dock going to live? Now, he has it in his head it's going to be in his room, which for me is like absolutely no chance, because you think I'm zipped up the back. He'll be climbing down from his bed all hours of the night playing stuff, and then he won't think far enough ahead, because it'll like run out of battery or want a game changed in it, and he'll like come into my room at 2 a.m, Dad, can you change this? I'm like, what are you doing? So I think I'm going to keep it docked here, by my desk, so that at least I've still got eyes on it. And it's about the limits. I'm lucky in the sense that he will tend to do things in short bursts, but that changes over time. He's only 5, but he won't sit there for hours on end, which is great. He won't do that with anything. Although he has his tablet and stuff like that, he's very much like 20 minutes and then he's on to the next thing. It's probably a sign that he might have some issues with focus, God knows, but he's just taking after his old man. But ultimately, that's the main thing for me. And outside of that exercise, it's really to try and use the device. If you're handing it down to your kids, and I'll be doing the same, use it as an exercise in teaching them respect for things. And we joke about it, it's as good as broken and all that, but I'm a real stickler for this. And I feel like handing them a console, you've not purchased it brand new, so if it does get broken, right, okay, there's a lesson to be learned. But it's just, I'm trying to teach them things like, right, clean hands, especially if you come near a controller after eating a packet of crisps. I'm like, good God, son. Good God, you're not getting invited to any LAN parties or co-op nights. But, clean hands, no running about with it. Put it in the case, just little things like that, just to avoid accidents. Try and treat it like a pride and joy, because ultimately you're trying to teach them that these things are finite. It's like if you break it, you're done. It's not like if you went and broke an action figure or something like that, or a doll, something like that that's easily replaceable. And we've all been there, and we've had a kid that's broken a toy and they're absolutely heartbroken. You're like, right, it was like £5. We'll get them another one. And usually it's like, right, if you're good tonight, if you're good tomorrow, or in my case, if you cut the grass and do all the dishes. But I'm just too much like my old man. But I don't know how you feel about it, Scott. I'm like, I feel like that's for me the right thing to do with them.
Yeah.
Just try and teach them a bit of responsibility. Enough for a 5-year-old can understand.
Well,
anyway.
That's the difficulty with it, is that you're dealing with younger kids here who believe that fucking switches grow on trees. But yeah, I think it's a different conversation to have when you have like a wee girl, because she is, so careful at picking the thing up. Yeah, but it is, you mentioned the payment stuff, and that's key, because she's quite happy to go into the store and go and buy something daft. She sees a Peppa Pig game or a Barbie game and she's all over it. Do you know what I mean? Aye. Ridiculous, man.
I will report back to let you know if I'm successful. Scott, you do the same, because you were doing the same after you get the Switch 2. But yeah, I'm hoping everybody's enjoying their Switch 2s when they're listening to this. And if not, I'd be intrigued to hear if you are intrigued to get one down the line. If it's something you want to get for yourself or your kids, let us know. Write in. We're always happy to hear from you guys. But I think it's time for us to move on, Scott. So that means that it's time for the Pixel Pick Showdown, where each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is a definitive list of games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers. Now, last week's theme, I believe, was PlayStation Vita game, with Guacamelee becoming the latest addition to the list. So in this week's Showdown, we're going to be debating what best game that got better over time. That's right, a bit of a mouthful this week. That we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. So, to summarise, it's basically a game that maybe launched in a rough state that aged like fine wine, or it could be a old game like Fallout 3 that has aged, even it's just got better over time. Whatever the justification here, let's have some fun. Now, as always, last week's winner goes last. So, Scott, that'll be you this week.
Yes, finally.
So, let's get to it. Now, I'm going to keep this short, sharp and sweet for you, Scott. My honourable mention this week, because I had to, but it's already in the list, so it can't possibly win, so it has to be an honourable mention, is Cyberpunk 2077.
That's the one I put. That's on my honourable mention for this week as well.
I mean, come on. I mean...
Phoenix rising from the ashes, do you know what I mean? Incredible stuff.
What a story. I mean, when that game launched, a lot of gamers probably had one of the worst experiences ever. A game that you've been looking forward to for so long, and I mean, you would take it running like a potato. This thing ran like dirt, and some of the videos that you were seeing, it was horrendous. It would make you wince. I was very lucky that I didn't have the experience myself on launch, but I think again, it was luck. The Series X was running that OG version fine, but I think if you owned an Xbox One, particularly the One S, I remember seeing some of the videos of that on launch, and it was rough, man. But to see what they've done now, and all credit to CD Projekt Red, that they just held their nerve. They knew that they had something special. They just had to fine-tune it and optimize it. And luckily, we're now at the other side of it. And you see this vision for what it is, and it is an astoundingly good, beautiful, and thoroughly enjoyable game. And that has to be both the honourable mentions this week.
Indeed.
But I'll move on to my pick this week. So it should come as no surprise, given the theme. My pick this week is going to be No Man's Sky, because I feel that is a game that was the OG game that got better over time. Following that logic of a launch that maybe wasn't great. Not as disastrous as Cyberpunk, but it just was something that failed to deliver on the promise. I remember we're all there. We all bought into it. And it's like, wow, we can go anywhere and really explore the galaxy, only to find that it was a little bit lacking in the features. Particularly, I remember walking away thinking, damn, I'm getting sick of this mining, to the point where it was a very chill experience and it was cool and it had something. But I would fall asleep playing it, and it was a little bit of boredom, but it was also a little bit of, it was too chill.
Yeah.
It needed something. And over time, the amount of updates that they have added to that game, from multiplayer to, adding it, refining the combat, making the exploration a little bit better, even the accessibility options within there as well, so you can fine tune the experience if you weren't wanting to do some extensive mining, for example, wanting the combat to be a little easier. I mean, I could go on, but I feel like that's a game will be a hallmark. When you say a game that gets better over time, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is No Man's Sky.
Aye.
So I feel like I had to give it the nod this week.
I think if you had to look up, getting better over time in the dictionary, that would be the one that's there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an easy one to pick. And it was one that I flirted with, to be honest with you, that I thought, but I don't have enough experience of playing No Man's Sky to make the argument for it, and that's the only reason why it stopped me from doing it. Mm-hmm. One game that I think it showed promise to begin with, but what eventually did explode into this massive phenomenon, and my pick for this week is Fortnite.
Ooh, I love that. Okay.
Because when Fortnite launched, it was this, whatever it was like a PvE nonsense, wasn't it? It was like Save the World or some pish like that.
It was, yeah.
And then it managed to stumble into this, obviously stole from PUBG, but it managed to stumble into the Battle Royale theme. And then you started to see the storylines build. It started to bring in skins and characters. And now it's just, everyone is there. That is the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate of Battle Royale games, where you could be Darth Vader and you could be popping caps into Hatsune Miku, or, I don't even know who that is, or some fucking Naruto asshole. It's just, it has become something bigger than it was ever meant to be.
Yeah.
And that in itself is testament to how it's got better over time. It's now got Lego, it's now fucking cars and all that shit. It's just, it's now not even the game itself. It is now just a hub to play in. Mm-hmm. And that in itself proves that it got better over time.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Liam. Scott Steiner said it.
They don't. You know what? I have no contest this week. I think you've hit the nail on the head, because you're right. when you think back at how that game was originally pitched, what it was going to be, and they just made the right pivot at the right time, and there's something about it. Even to this point, I'm not a Fortnite player, but every now and then you just get this urge to go back.
It was me a few weeks back. Fucking Sabrina Carpenter skins and all sorts.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we went and checked out like the racing mode in it, and I've still really want to go look at the Lego mode. I downloaded it in the PS5 months ago. I think around about the same time you're saying we need to go back. Downloaded it, still not touched it, and I've not deleted it yet. The joys of the big 3 terabyte bad boy. But it's, I've not deleted it yet, but you're right. I think this is something that open and shut case. It's a game that has only got better and bigger, and still seems to be getting better over time. The fact that the Steam hasn't run out in it yet is incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
It's disgusting.
I thought it would have died a death a few years ago, particularly at the switch of the generation. But
the thing is, it's now just pop culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's everything in pop culture. Somebody releases a hit song, it's now they've got their own skin in the game. There's now all these songs in the game, Guitar Heroes in the game now and stuff as well. So it's lifting things around it up as well. So yeah. Well done, Fortnite. You are the latest addition to the Pixel Picks list. Absolutely. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought, eh?
That's a slam dunk. That's a slam dunk entry, Scott. Well done.
Finally.
Well, of course, we've got things to be moving on to then. So, of course, that brings us then to the end of this week's podcast. So, thank you once again for joining us. And remember to support small independent games media. So, if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, please share this on social media and tell your friends about us, or leave us a wee 5-star review. Anything you do really helps us out, makes a big difference, and thank you to everybody that does so and joins us. Now, test time, Scott. Where can people find you online if they wish to have a chat?
Call me yawning. Talk to me about Fortnite at lamaman.bsky.social. Nice, come and say hello and some shit, no?
And if you want to catch up with me, of course, you can follow me at carmelite.bsky.social as well on Blue Sky. Now, massive thank you to our producer and music man, the talented, handsome and wonderful Mr. Sean Murray. He's been putting in the hours, folks. Really has been putting in the hours. He's been cooking something very special for you, which you'll get a glimpse of when you go to YouTube and view the Pixel Reacts episodes that's up there. More to come, thanks to Sean. Now, please go show him some love and check out his work on Instagram at barehandsdesigns and barehandsdesigns.com. Now, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms, YouTube, you name it. And follow us on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social. And if you want to, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thank you for listening.
Announced Bloodborne Remaster.